So yesterday we focused on finding the slope, given 2 points, finding the slope. If you were given something in slope-intercept form, being able to identify the slope, what the slope was. And then we talked about how do you know if two lines are parallel or perpendicular to each other, given their slopes. Today we've kind of got three things that we're going to take care of today, or we want to cover today. The first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how do we go about writing equations in slope-intercept form. If we're already given the equation, how do we write it? How do we go about writing it in slope-intercept form? Second part of that, we're just going to expand on that a little bit, and we're going to write them in slope-intercept form and then determine if they're parallel. Remember, that's our symbol for parallel. Determine if they're parallel or perpendicular. So let's kind of expand on what we talked about yesterday. And then we're going to get into writing the equations today and how we go about writing an equation in slope-intercept form if you're given 2 points. So three major tasks today. The first two, kind of review. And then the third one, although it's something you've done before, something that students have lots of trouble with. So writing equations in slope-intercept form, that's kind of the first objective for today. Talked about it yesterday. Slope-intercept form is anything that's in the form y equals mx plus b. So if you're given an equation and we want to write it in slope-intercept form, what we have to do is we have to solve that equation for y. Instead of solving for x, we solve for y because our form is y equals mx plus b. And again, just a reminder, things we talked about yesterday. Remember that that's the slope, and m is our slope, and then this b is our y-intercept. And it's actually the point 0b. And that's just from yesterday. Please make sure that door's closed, please. Thank you. So if we're looking at this first example is 3x plus y is equal to 5. That's not in slope-intercept form. We want to put it in slope-intercept form. So that means we want to isolate the y variable. So in order to isolate the y variable, then we need to get everything that's on the side of the y on the other side. Okay, so if we look at this problem, that means that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract 3x's from both sides. 3x minus 3x is nothing. So on the left-hand side, I have y. And now I'm going to put this in mx plus b form. So that's just negative 3x plus 5. It's in slope-intercept form. Now, if you were asked for the slope, which you aren't being asked in this question, but the slope of this is negative 3 or negative 3 over 1. Remember, the slope is just our value that's out in front of the x. And we like to write it in form of a fraction, because this is what it's rising or running and rising up and running over. And it goes down, but that's okay. Okay, so that's the first example. Let's look at a second one. It's a little more complex. Now we've got 3y is equal to, 3y minus 3x is equal to 9. So what do I do first? I have to solve this for y. What do I do first? What did we do first for this first one? Move the x. So what are we going to do with this one? Okay, we're going to add 3x to both sides. Okay, so we move 3x. By adding it, do the opposite of what we have. So that leaves me with 3y is equal to 3x plus 9. Now what? Do I have just y? No. So how do I get rid of 3y? What do I have to do? Divide by 3. And we're going to divide everything by 3. 3y divided by 3 leaves me with just y. 3x divided by 3 leaves me with just x. 9 divided by 3 is 3. There's my equation in slope-intercept form. Questions with that one? Next one. Negative 6x minus 2y equals 4. And we have to solve for y. What's first? Move the x. How do I move the negative 6x? Great job. Add 6x. Now what? Divide by negative 2. So y is equal to 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3x minus 2. There's your equation. Let's try one on your own. Put that in slope-intercept form. We should subtract x first. So negative 5y is equal to negative x plus 15. Divide by negative 5. Negative divided by negative is a positive, so the way we write this is 1/5 x minus 3. Questions with that one? Okay, so solving for y. It's something we've done before, something you've done before, but now what this is going to allow us to do is we want to put it in this form so that we can go ahead then and talk about, okay, are these two lines going to be parallel, perpendicular to each other? So the next part is just a reminder that remember parallel lines. Let's get our symbol for parallel. Parallel means they have the same slope. They're exactly the same. Slope is 3, the other slope is 3, so on and so forth. Perpendicular, again, that's our sign for perpendicular. Our shortcut, as we said, they're the opposite reciprocal, meaning if it was positive, it becomes negative. If it was negative, it becomes positive. And reciprocal means to flip it. Mathematically, the product is negative 1 if you multiply their slopes together. Okay? So if we look at this first example, I want to know if those two lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Well, they're already in slope-intercept form, and that has to be the first thing you do. You need to put them in slope-intercept form. This one is already there. So we're just going to identify the slopes. The slope of this first one is 1. The value out in front, there's nothing there, so it's 1. The slope of this one is -1. They're opposites of each other. Are they reciprocals of each other? Yeah. Okay. So these are actually perpendicular to each other. Okay. 1 and -1 are perpendicular. You think of slope of 1, slope of -1, they're going to meet at a 90-degree angle. So those are perpendicular. Second one. Got y is equal to 5/2 x plus 4. Straightforward. Slope is given to us. The slope of this one is equal to 5/2. Second one, it's not in slope-intercept form. We've got 2y is equal to 5x minus 4. Means we didn't divide by 2. So we have to get it in slope-intercept form first. It has to be the first thing that you do. Gives me y is equal to 5/2 x minus 2. Slope of this one is 5/2. So the slope of this one is 5/2. The slope of this one is 5/2, making them, they are parallel to each other. They have the same slope, so they're parallel. Again, symbol for parallel. If you want to spell it out, whatever. Okay. Next one. 7x plus 2y equals 10, and 3y is equal to 4x minus 5. Again, we want to know if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. They just might intersect somewhere. They have the same slope, they're parallel. Opposite reciprocals, product is -1, they're perpendicular. If they're either of those, it's neither. Subtract 7x. So you get 2y is -7x plus 10. Divide by 2. Y is -7/2. X plus 5. So there's my slope. Divide by 3. Y is 4/3 x minus 5/3. There's my slope. Are they the same as each other? No. Are they opposites of each other? Are opposite reciprocals of each other? Nope. So are they perpendicular or parallel? Nope. They just intersect. If they're neither the same nor opposite reciprocals, they intersect. Go ahead and see if you can figure out the last one. Parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Give it a try.
Is it supposed to be an X?
Oh, shoot. Yes. This should be an X. Thank you. That should be an X. What's the slope of the first one? Well, it's negative 2/3. Did everybody get that? It's positive 3/2. Opposite reciprocal, so therefore they are perpendicular to each other. Any questions about writing them in slope-intercept form and then figuring out if they're parallel or perpendicular? Are we okay with that part of it? All right, now the fun one of the day. So the last thing we want to be able to do then is we want to be able to write the equations of the lines in slope-intercept form if we're given 2 points. So our whole goal for this last piece is to be able to take 2 points and write the equation of the line that goes through those 2 points in y equals mx plus b form. Okay, and there are a couple steps to this when we do this. So the first example we're going to look at is we're going to look at the point 5, -1, and 0, 1. And we're going to write the equation for that in y equals mx plus b form. So let's think about what we need. In order to do this, we need the slope. We need to be able to figure out what the slope is of our line. If we have 2 points, we can find that slope. The second thing we need to have is we need to have the y-intercept. The x value and y value, they're going to remain variables. Okay, this is going to be something like y equals 6x plus 4. That's not what the answer to this one is. But the x and the y, those are going to remain the same in these. What's going to change in all of these is what our slope is and what our y-intercept is. So step 1, when you do these, is you're going to find the slope. So step 1, find the slope of the line. So that's step 1. Find the slope. So we're given the points 5, -1, and 0, 1. We talked about slope yesterday. We said it was y1, so -1 minus 1. So it's our change in y's over our change in x's. So 5 minus 0. So our y's are on the top, the x's on the bottom. So that's -2/5. So that's my slope. My slope is -2/5. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2. Step 2, you're going to write the equation with the slope in there. So y is equal to -2/5 x plus b. So all I've done is I've wrote it in slope-intercept form and just put the slope in there with what I knew that slope was. Third step. The third step, you're going to take one of your points. It doesn't matter which one you pick. And you're going to substitute it in for the y and the x value in step 2. I'm going to pick 0, 1 because it has a 0 in it. Anytime there's a 0 in one of the points, use it because it's 0. So I'm going to substitute this point in to this equation. So my y value is 1. That's from right there. Equals -2/5 times my x value, which is right there, which is 0 plus b. So I substituted the point in there into my x and my y values. Now I'm going to solve that for b. And you're going to take this and solve for b. So that's 1 is equal to 0 times anything is 0. So my b value is equal to 1. Now we have step 4, and this is the final step. Step 4, we're going to write the equation y equals negative 2/5 x. But now we know the b value. The b value is 1. So that's going to be plus 1. That's the equation of the line that goes through those 2 points in slope-intercept form. Okay. Could we have known that right away? Yes, if you recognize this was the y-intercept. You could have just gone right to there. But this 4-step process works every single time. So you find the slope, write out the equation with the slope put in there, substitute one of the 2 points, doesn't matter. For step 3, solve for b, and then rewrite your step 2 with your b in there. These are the 4 steps we're going to use when we do these. Okay. So let's look at this second one. I'm going to get rid of this one. Okay, so let's look at this second one. So we've got the points -1, -5, and 1, 1. Okay, so again, step 1, the slope. My y values, so I go from left to right, so -5 minus 1, -5 minus 1, over -1 minus 1. -1 minus 1 is -6 over -2. So my slope is 3. So there's step 1. Find the slope. We worked on that yesterday. Step 2. We're going to write the equation, putting the slope that we just found in there, and leaving everything else as mx plus b. So we have y equals my slope, 3x plus b. Step 3, pick one of the points. It doesn't matter which one you pick. You'll get the same b value if you pick -1, -5, or 1, 1. Which one do you want to use? 1, 1. 1, 1's easier. So my y value, if I use 1, 1, my y value is 1. 3 is there. My x value is also 1 plus b. So this is 1 is equal to 3 plus b. Now we have to solve for b. So subtract 3. That's -2 is equal to b. So now I've got my b value. So then we go to step 4. We go to step 4. We rewrite the equation with our b value in there. There's the equation of a line that goes through those 2 points. Again, step 1, find the slope. Step 2, write your equation with the slope. Step 3, substitute in one of the points for your x and y and solve for b. Step 3, rewrite step 2 with the b value in it. Works every single time when you're writing equations of lines, passing through 2 points. Questions with those 2? Try one on your own. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and see how you do Hang on, I'm going to change. Did everybody start already? I'm going to make this I'm going to make this -5. I just don't want you because you're going to get 0. I don't want that. So 5, 5, and 3, -5. So if you can write the equation for the line that goes through those 2 points in slope-intercept form. If you want to work with the neighbor, go ahead, work with the neighbor. Give you about 2 minutes. All right, let's take a look at it. Step 1, the slope. So you should have 5 minus -5 over 5 minus 3. So 10 over 2. So 5. So my equation then, be y equals 5x plus b. I'm going to substitute 5, 5 in there. Doesn't matter. So 5 is equal to 5 times 5 plus b. So far, so good? So 5 is equal to 25 plus b. Subtract 25. B is equal to -20. Does that look right? Yes? B is -20. If you did it the other way, If you did it the other way, you would have had -5 equals 5 times 3. So -5 equals 15 plus b, -20. So our equation for step 4, y is equal to my slope, -20. Any questions with this? Hardest part of today is going to be this part of it, writing the equations of the lines. We're going to spend another day on this tomorrow. We'll add a step to this tomorrow where we'll talk about, okay, I've got 2 points. Let's write an equation of a line perpendicular to that, or let's write an equation parallel to that. We're going to add on this tomorrow, but we'll get more instruction with this tomorrow as well. Today on your assignment, worksheets are up here. You only need to do questions 1 through 10. Don't go past number 10. The rest of it we're going to talk about tomorrow. So just questions 1 through 10.